now. So Landry leaves Miami, opens up some targets there, and a guy we think both is not getting reflected for is Kenny Stills. What do you like about him?
So one last point on Jarvis Landry is I kind of
sure.
wish he wasn't on Hard Knocks because I feel like that's making more people like him. Every year there's the one guy in Hard Knocks whose ADP rises because of it. So I kind of wish we picked a different team.
I know, seriously. One-handed catches and stuff. I mean, he's making plays all over the field. Maybe people will wake up to how good this guy actually is, right?
But if they picked a different team, I wouldn't want it to be the Dolphins because Kenny Stills – I have more Kenny Stills than is healthy. You know, I might like Kenny Stills more than Kenny Stills' mom likes him this year. But you look at the guy who's he had 58 catches on 105 targets last year, and Landry's 161 wide receiver targets leave. They bring in Albert Wilson and Danny Amendola. They think Wilson's going to play on the outside, mixing and matching with Parker and Amendola in the slot. And I think Stills will work in the slot some as well, where you've seen him be highly effective. But you know, if you add, let's say he gets 30 of those Jarvis Landry targets, which I think is a pretty conservative number, that put him at 135 targets, which puts him top 13. And then if you look at the guys that have been top 13 in targets in the history or in the last 10 years of the NFL, no one's ever finished worse than wide receiver 27, which coincidentally is what Kenny Stills finished last year. And then he goes wide receiver 54 off the board. And not to mention, he gets valuable targets, right? Like, we think of Kenny Stills as just a ceiling guy, but in 17 of his last 32 games, he scored double-digit fantasy points in PPR format. So he makes big plays. He gives you a floor. He's going to get a ton of targets. And here he is hanging out in the 9th or 10th round. And, you know, the concern is that, well, with Tannehill, he never did great. Well, you know, he saw 17 or 16% market share with Tannehill in 2016 and 17% market share last year. Mm-hmm. People were referencing more of that when Stills was the third option behind Mike Wallace, who kind of took that Kenny Stills role. Now, I think that's one of those situations where sometimes when we go back too far in fantasy football, it's not really actionable data. And I think Kenny Stills is set up as the number one wide receiver in Miami. That's going to have a ton of volume down the field, is going to see more targets. And if he improves his efficiency a little bit, like he's got like top 15 wide receiver upside going at wide receiver 54 in the 9th or 10th round. I think it's a no-brainer.
Absolutely. And you mentioned, he dominates at every layer of the field. He's had 18 touchdowns over the last 3 seasons. That's top 15 among all wide receivers, more than Julio Jones over that span. So, I mean, not just a deep threat in intermediate. He dominates in the red zone, too. Plus, Landry's targets are available. What about DeVante Parker? Broken finger, questionable for week 1. Just always so soft and never fully on the field. I don't get how people are still, at this point, if you haven't broken out, I know you're made us some special stuff, but if you haven't broken out yet, it's not going to be DeVante Parker. So I agree with you. Kenny Stills is going to be that number one guy. Different than Landry, yes, but still, he could be a target hog. They're going to be playing from behind plenty. And I think he's going to blow up this year too. So I'm fully with you. Great value in round 10 right now. Outperformed his ADP both 2 seasons in a row now at this point. He was drafted as the wide receiver 61 last year, like you said, wide receiver 27 finish. I see something similar this year. He's going at like wide receiver 50. Definitely in the top 25 or so receivers, I think he finishes. And the last guy, another late round guy.
I don't get why people don't like him. I don't know why. And the funny thing is, like, Matt Harmon's come out about it. I think Evan Silva's come out about it. Graham Barfield. A lot of the top guys in this year, like Kenny Stills was set up for a monster year. Yeah. And he's still not climbing on ADP.
I'll take it. Yeah, fine with me. Yeah, exactly. The guys that I respect the most all love him, and still, yeah, I'm fully with you there.